All right, we are live. So welcome back to Dapp University. So today we've got a lot to talk about in our live stream. We're gonna look at some things that could kick off the next crypto bull run. Okay, we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna look at a lot of other updates that have happened in this space since yesterday. We've got a bunch of crazy stuff on the calendar for next week in the crypto space. We've got the Ethereum Merge coming up. We've got CPI data for the United States coming out next week. Okay, we're gonna look at the crypto markets, answer some of your questions, and a whole lot more. So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to become a blockchain master step-by-step start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. All right, so we got people jumping in the chat here. We got Dale, Cody, David Stone, Above Realty, Guy, I hope I'm saying that right, Maya Football, Stone Boy, Automatic Beats, Anthony, Alpha, Jay Lee, Stefan, Lex, welcome. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into this. Let's talk about some things that could bring back the crypto bull market, okay? So I want to bring this up because, we've seen some pretty crazy price action in the crypto space for the past couple days. I mean, yesterday, we were making this video talking about, like, hey, what happened to the crypto markets, right? Because we saw this, pretty crazy, just let me just pull this up here. Hold on a second. We saw a pretty crazy, it was a flash crash because I wouldn't call it bad enough to be a crash, but we saw, we did this really fast, okay? And so this leg down here kind of got people panicked, but we talked about this as a crypto-specific problem. And anyways, we started to see this quickly recover, okay? Quickly recover. And now we see the price action look like this over the past 7 days. I mean, what kind of chart is this? All right. So clearly there is some appetite to gobble up the cryptos at a cheaper price. So let's talk about some things that could, kickstart the next bull trend because, in my opinion, of course, not financial advice, this is just a matter of if, it's a matter of when, not if, right? So let's talk about those. All right. So I saw this come across CoinDesk and wanted to talk about this because there are some things on this list that I definitely agree with. Okay, so crypto bull markets come for a variety of reasons. Sometimes it's adoption. Sometimes it's, you see metrics increasing like daily active users, TVL. Sometimes it's innovation, like, hey, here's this brand new technology. There's hype around this technology. But sometimes it's literally just the momentum of the price moving forward and FOMO that fuels that fire that causes that snowball to roll further and further and further. And so that's definitely a huge component of this number one thing on the list, okay, the Ethereum Merge being successful and how this could be a big factor in the next bull trend. So why is this such a big deal? So, of course, if you've been watching this channel at all in the past, 90 days, we've been talking a lot about the Ethereum Merge because this is the most significant event in all of, Ethereum's history, aside from its initial launch, okay? Ethereum moving to proof of stake. It's one of the biggest events in all of crypto's history, okay? Because we're talking about Ethereum 2.0 really since day one, since it launched, and it's basically going to be here next week, okay? So, one of the biggest reasons that I'm so bullish on the merge, of course, is what it can do for the price of Ether over time, just from a mathematical perspective, okay? Because it's going to be proof of stake, all right? Now we're going to have validators on the network where you can stake Ether to earn passive income reward. That's more reasons that affects the demand side for Ether, more reasons to hold Ether in the first place. The APY, in terms of the yields, probably going to be pretty good on the grand scheme of things, especially talking about an asset that can appreciate in price like Ether. Has a lot of upside potential over the long term. ETH trading at $1,600 today. ETH was basically $5,000 months ago, and so that's a pretty good risk-reward scenario, especially if you're getting the yield on top of that, a good yield, all right? And then also, like, the fact that ETH is most likely going to become deflationary over long periods of time, and, I was just re-watching a video. I like to check out my buddy Anthony Sassano's playlist over on his channel Daily Gwei. Definitely go check that out if you haven't already. But I just watched his update talking about the ETH merge and the cleanup period, the post-merge cleanup period. And I've talked about this before, but he mentioned it today at the end of his broadcast, and I want to reiterate this, is the fact that ETH is going to be basically like all the new ETH that's hitting the market post merge is going to be, sent to validators, and they're still going to be locked up, and withdrawals are going to be disabled for 6 months after the merge. We don't know exactly for sure, but that means that during that period, all the new ETH hitting the market is not going to be in circulation. Okay, so basically after the merge, because we're burning ETH, like it's going to be deflationary over that period in terms of, or negative issuance in terms of the circulating supply. Okay, so that alone, could cause the ETH price to start trending up after the merge, just based on simple supply and demand economics. Okay, so that could be one of those things that causes the momentum to shift in terms of Ethereum. I'm going to jump on down to point 3 here on this is actually Ether flipping Bitcoin to become the #1 cryptocurrency by market cap. So I mentioned this at the end of our live stream yesterday. I put a tweet out about it on Twitter. Okay. But basically, Ethereum is at $1,600 right now. Bitcoin's at, $19,000. And the last time Bitcoin's at $19,000, ETH was at like $900. Okay, so that means that ETH has basically outperformed Bitcoin in terms of price. It held its value better during the downturn here. And if you check on like the ETH to BTC ratio, all right, we are, we're basically setting new highs in terms of our recent trend. Okay, so basically, if you compare the Ethereum price to the Bitcoin price, you can see what that's done here. This is basically ETH outperforming Bitcoin and tracking that on a chart. You can look at it on a website like Ratio Gang to see where we are in terms of flippening. So basically, I said this yesterday. Basically, if Ether just pulled a quick 2x, right, independent of Bitcoin, a 2x return, and went to only about $3,000 while Bitcoin's struggling, which, I mean, it honestly could do around the merge hype, like it would flip Bitcoin. Okay. And that would be, basically checkbox number 2 on this list. So the merge is successful and ETH flips Bitcoin as the #1 cryptocurrency by market cap. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but when you think about things in terms of possible outcomes, you have to rank those things in terms of likelihood, right? Like, theoretically, could Ether go to $10,000 next month? Theoretically, it could. Is it going to happen? Probably not, right? We don't really have any price history of Ether at $10,000, okay? We have a significant amount of price history for Ether at $3,000, okay? Ether just pulled a 2x from $900, over a 2x from basically $800 to $900 up to about $2,000 in a very short period of time. Is it also possible for Ether to pull a 2x, less than a 2x at this point, up to $3,000 in a relatively short amount of time? Definitely possible. So anyways, that's another thing. Like, so, and what you have to understand is, bull markets tend to, get momentum behind them, okay? And typically, like, bull markets don't really start, like, rocketing off until something kind of crazy happens, okay? Ether flipping Bitcoin could be, like, kind of crazy. It's an anomaly. It's something that is unusual, that sort of ripple waves through, the internet, okay? And one of those things, like you have to think about in terms of statistical significance. Like, crypto price going up, okay, cool, but statistical significance, something breaks out through the noise and really matters. And one of those things is like the last bull run, essentially when Bitcoin broke its all-time high, that's when really things started to get crazy, okay? Because, I remember watching this entire thing right here, sort of this period through 2020 where, Bitcoin was, actually, let me pull a little bit later. I remember watching this whole thing through 2020 when, especially after, March 2020 when things started to recover, okay? And then we were on basically a slow rise throughout the entire year after March of 2020. We were in a bull trend. I mean, if you bought in March of 2020, you were up, 3x by the time November hit here. Now, I know a lot of people think, 3x, who cares in crypto? But it was a big deal, like after we just been through a 2-year bear market, okay, especially on a major cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, and had another false start in there. And so pretty much everybody that was already in the crypto space was like, super excited. And of course, inside of here was we had DeFi summer, and we were rocketing off all these, smaller cap DeFi coins on ETH. It was a brand new thing. Nobody ever done it before. There's all this new life. And if you're in the crypto space, you're like, hey, the game-changing event, like it's already happened. But that was really just the starting line was when we broke all-time highs in terms of the real crazy explosive move of the bull market. Basically, when Bitcoin broke 20K, that's when things started to get absolutely nuts, okay? That's when you start to see all this stuff kind of happen through here, okay? So anyways, the reason I bring that up is those are the types of events that really cause, things to get furious and hot. And, it just a perfect storm of something like a merge becoming successful that actually affects the price of ETH to where it could start to appreciate, quickly. And even do that type of scenario where I was talking about. I mean, like, remember what I was talking about what Bitcoin did throughout 2020, where we kind of had this like slow rise, like, pulled a 3x or something like that. If we saw Ether start to do a similar type of thing based on just the fundamentals of the merge, and then we initiate a flippening, all right, and then people go like check coinmarketcap.com or CoinGecko, and they look at it, and like the number one coin is Ether, and they're like, whoa, like that's not a thing. And then that starts to like that stuff is that wakes people up. Okay. So these are very possible. And it's possible that ETH could flip Bitcoin, ahead of the merge as a merge pump or shortly after. Okay. Again, that's just in the realm of possibility, not saying it's going to happen. And if it did do it in the short term, like that could be essentially like a temporary event, and then it could, fall back to second place. Okay, but over time we could see it, overtake it long term based on its fundamentals. So anyways, roll-ups bring the new wave of crypto user demand. Okay, so basically, we've seen lots of demand for fast, cheap transactions, especially on alternative layer 1 chains. We're seeing lots of layer 2 adoption, okay, with layer 2 scaling solutions. I know people are, always frustrated with Ethereum because it's slow and it's expensive to use. And they're excited for ETH 2.0 because it's going to fix the gas fees. That's not going to happen, right? But that's okay. That's what layer 2 scaling solutions are for. And so stuff like Arbitrum Optimism, we've seen a significant rise in in activity on that. I mean, Arbitrum doesn't really even have any token incentives, and we've seen lots of adoption. It doesn't even really have, there's like really, it's not as incentivized something like Optimism. There is no token on the Arbitrum ecosystem. Their individual applications can have incentives on top of them, right? But the actual roll-up chain does not. So anyways, as roll-ups get better, like that's going to make things easier for people to come back in and do on-chain activity at a cheaper price, especially on a main chain like Ethereum. So there's a possibility of DeFi and rollups essentially having a replay of the DeFi summer that we saw in 2020, like I was talking about, when you sort of had this, insider party, I would say. I'm sure my camera's doing that. Exactly what I was talking about, like in 2020, during this time, pull this up my screen here. During this time that you sort of saw this trend throughout 2020, of course, this was awesome for the Bitcoin price, okay? We basically pulled a 3x off the March lows, okay, from right here. Basically like a 3x during the year, maybe even a little more. I mean, we technically broke the all-time high in December, so it's more than that, but I'm just kind of using rough numbers. Like I said before, during this time, that's when DeFi summer was happening. This was DeFi summer, and that's where sort of insider party happened. Like we saw explosive gains, I mean, the thing that really kicked off the DeFi trend was stuff like Aave and Synthetics, and Synthetics did 100x, and that was way before anybody was making gains on anything else, okay? So, we're already starting to see some significant activity on some tokens, especially in the Arbitrum ecosystem. We could see a full replay of stuff like that, especially as rollups kind of bring out new ecosystems. So we got more stuff like NFTs pivoting to become play to own games instead of play to earn. That's an interesting thing. Tokenomic design start to focus on value accumulation. We talked about this some with sort of the idea of real yield. Okay, basically yield with tokens that is based upon sustainable yield rather than, sort of the Ponzi yields that you see in DeFi that dry up really fast. Okay. And so, yeah, if we start to see more cryptocurrencies that have something inside of it that actually causes it to appreciate in price, or incentives that cause it to appreciate in price rather than just like convince somebody else to hold it, then, that brings more strong fundamental value to the cryptocurrencies themselves. So example would be like a token that might earn fees from something. Again, some of this stuff is easier said than done because you're essentially have to worry about securities laws and stuff like that. This has been an age-old problem. I mean, if there were no, so a lot of times the barriers are regulatory barriers. They're not necessarily technical barriers. Like I could code a token, I could code a cryptocurrency exchange and issue a token, this weekend that would let you hold the tokens and earn a cut of the trading fees and launch it. But that's not the hard part. Like the hard part's the regulatory hurdles to overcome. So, anyways, those are some pretty compelling things to think about. I definitely agree, especially with the first couple on the list in terms of Ethereum Merge and the Ether potentially flipping Bitcoin. Again, I'm not guaranteeing these are going to happen. I'm pretty sure the Ethereum Merge is going to be successful. I'm not necessarily saying if Ether is going to flip Bitcoin, but it is very, very much in the realm of possibility. So ETH flipping is around 54%. Yeah, it's getting pretty close. It's halfway there. A little over halfway. We should have a predictions market for ETH flipping Bitcoin. You could build it on chain. You could have a Chainlink Oracle, and then basically like get the Ether market cap and then get the Bitcoin market cap and put them in a smart contract. So I know people are super excited about crypto gaming. Okay. One thing that I saw come across Twitter yesterday, okay, was definitely this. So GameStop is forming a partnership with FTX. Okay. So it's going to enter a party of FTX. Is intended to introduce more GameStop customers to FTX community and its marketplace for digital assets, in addition to collaborating with FTX on new e-commerce and online marketing initiatives. Okay, they're going to be carrying FTX gift cards in select stores. So clearly, we're seeing a significant overlap between gamers and crypto enthusiasts. Okay, it's a pretty natural fit. Gamers love to spend time staring at screens, and winning. All right, that's kind of basically what crypto is too, but you're adding financial incentives to it. Also, the big overlap with crypto and gaming, like I was talking about. GameStop has their NFT platform. We saw breadcrumbs of this. We saw breadcrumbs of this basically last year. I remember when GameStop had that on their website about the NFT initiative. They didn't actually announce what they were going to build. It was just they had a GameStop NFT website. It was kind of cryptic. It was like, hey, reach out to us if you want to help us build something. And now it's live, right? So we definitely have a GameStop NFT platform. Okay. Running on Immutable X is coming soon. All right. So another thing that's pretty interesting. Let's talk a little bit more about the Ethereum Merge. So we definitely got the Ethereum Merge coming up. Let's just look here. So that's what I was talking about before. Ethereum is switching to proof of stake. That's most likely going to be next week. All right, that's when we merge from Ethereum that you're using today to the new improved version with the beacon chain. Merging back into the Ethereum main chain. So that's gonna be next week. That's gonna be the total terminal difficulty of this number. I can never say this number because it's so big. I don't even know how you'd read this in English. If you have an idea, let me know in the comment section below. There's got to be like a. Actually, I'm curious. Let's see if there's like a. Let's look at number to human readable. Say convert number to human read to English. Convert number to English. Number to words converter. Let's give this a try. Okay, here you go. Found it. So here you go. Total terminal difficulty of 58 sextillion 750 quintillion. I'm actually gonna put that on my Twitter right now. That's gonna be fun. Let's go ahead and we'll do that. We need to have like an NFT for this. We have like an NFT for like live stream moments. Like if you're here with me while I discovered this and tweeted it on Twitter. I'm gonna put this out there. There we go. So anyways, that's the total terminal difficulty. That's going to be approximately Thursday, September 15th, okay, at midnight. That's what it looks like right now. So again, this is based upon the mining difficulty, okay, the difficulty to produce blocks, and that's essentially the threshold that it has to cross. There's no like hard date coded into the blockchain. There's all these factors that affect this, like the hash rate, the ETH price, and so we have a sort of calculator that's watching all these things and trying to forecast exactly when it's going to happen. It's probably going to happen. Probably going to happen next Thursday at midnight UTC time, which would be late on Wednesday if you're in the United States. But this could speed up, right? They could start, doing stuff quick and, be a lot faster. I just realized I said the wrong words in my tweet. Oh, well. It's total terminal difficulty. So anywhere ETH POW. So basically, let's take a look here. So the question here is on what's the current status of the proof of work version of Ethereum. Okay. So basically, the whole idea here is that we have the Ethereum chain merging, right? But there's the idea of a fork where essentially, you could have the current version of Ethereum with mining stay behind and the chain split into two. So there is a proof of work version of Ethereum that is supposed to stay behind. The plan is still to do that, to fork and then freeze certain, assets on chain. It's different technologies, okay? So it looks like it's still going to happen. I'm still not super optimistic about the long-term viability of this. Even if you got some free coins, like, how are you going to cash out of them if they're not supported by exchanges? and if all the DeFi platforms have any hiccups on them, like are they actually going to have liquidity for you to swap? If they do, what are you going to swap to? Because the stable coins on those networks aren't necessarily going to be worth anything, right? You might just have this like ETH in your wallet that certain people are able to cash out of, and then the price just dumps like way down. So like, why does it matter? So that's just those are my initial doubts, right? I'm not saying that life can't find a way on the ETH proof of work chain. It's just like I'm not super bullish on the remnant. I'll put it that way. So Steve asks, is Ethereum quantum secure? So, well, there's really probably a question behind that question is, should you worry about Ethereum security based upon the presence of quantum computers? So I guess the term there is also quantum resistant. So basically, I mean, the answer is no, but the question is there anybody who is a threat to the blockchain who actually has the computational power to compromise the network with the quantum computer? Like, there's a lot of quantum computers out there and they suck. And so they're not stable, and the likelihood that somebody possesses one who actually cares enough to do something like take down ETH is very, 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 very low. So, I mean, think about it this way. If you possess the power to break encryption on things like nuclear codes, like, do you really care about compromising the funds on a chain like Bitcoin or Ethereum? Probably not, because if you're going to do that, then essentially you have to show your cards that you have the power to break nuclear codes. And if you know anything about nuclear warfare, we're talking about an arms race, and there's a lot of game theory behind that. Like, you're probably not just going to go start monkeying around with blockchains, right? There's a lot of other things you could do with quantum computing that you only want to do if you have to do it. And so you're probably not going to start just like hacking a blockchain. So, that's my take. Like we actually could have the presence of those types of quantum computers with, insider agencies, right? But they're not going to tell you about it, right? They're only going to use it if they have to, because hacking a blockchain would be a massive public event. It would let everyone know that you have the capability. It'd be the stupidest thing on earth that you could do, because it would then, there's a lot of game theory behind it. So anyways, so the real question is, does a nefarious individual or hacking group have the quantum computers available to do that? It's the same thing. Even if they did, why would they care about doing something as a public spectacle that would paint a target on their head, right? Like, why wouldn't you use this in a much more covert, secret way, right? So I think most likely there's not the nefarious individual out there who's going to do this, and probably won't anytime soon, given the state of what we know about quantum computers. Okay, and even if we do get to that point, and it becomes widely, like, the real threat is when it becomes available but not widely available, right? And that initial period, okay, to where some like goober gets a hold of it and starts messing with stuff. But like, at the same time, like, why would they care so much about crypto when they can crack any password they want to on any website ever, right? That's the other thing. So anyways, the flip side of that is just quantum resistant encryption. All right, it's basically the ability to, I mean, if you have quantum computers to crack encryption, you can use quantum computers to encrypt things. So that's the flip side. So I'm not really worried about it. You forget people are crazy. I know people are crazy, but somebody who's able to manage to either create a quantum computer or acquire a quantum computer powerful enough to do that, they still are motivated by something, and it's most likely not just to watch the world burn. Like, it's probably to gain something for themselves, and so they're going to try to be smart enough to, you know, that's at least my take on it, right? Like, if they're able to get it, it's going to be hard to get. Somebody says mutually assured destruction. They blow their cover, they go down. Yeah, totally. All right, everybody, that's all I got for today. As always, smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. You know, that really helps these videos out so the more people can learn about blockchain. And if you're as fascinated with this technology as I am, you want to get your hands dirty, how can you get started today? Well, you can go to my YouTube homepage. You find my free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. And if you like those and you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you're taking a master shortcut entirely, I can master blockchain step by step, start to finish, over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. You have to be an expert to get started today. I've helped people with zero coding experience become real world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. And until next time, thanks for watching Dapp University.